All right, let's see. Are we live? Are we not live? I can't see myself.
Hello, Internet.
Yes, we are live. Okay. So, yeah, I don't
Yes,
think
we
I'm.
are.
Yes, I don't think I'm going to use Craig today. But so, Total Agent,
Hello.
how did you come across Twin Peaks?
Well, it was a few years ago, and I basically just watched it with my parents, and that's and that's how I came across this series. It's just it's just sort of been there floating around in the zeitgeist,
I
you know,
mean,
Yeah.
basically.
Twin Peaks is a relatively rather well-known American TV show. Obviously, David Lynch is known for it. But in general, my impression is it's also considered one of these TV shows in the '90s that started to push what TV could actually do, and really
Yes, exactly.
started to push TV towards being more big budget. Like if you look at some of the sitcoms of the era, like Frasier or Friends or whatever. Admittedly, those are sitcoms, but the sets and whatnot are entirely different. Or like even a Roman show like I Claudius, the sets are really cheap and chintzy. That was the '70s, but this everything about this looks movie quality, both in direction and in terms of quality of acting. I guess you could say in direction and all that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right. Also the experimentation that goes on in this show as well. So with as you said, with the pilots, especially, it's like you're watching a short film, right? Even though it's a pilot for a television series,
Yes,
and as
it
well as
helps
as
that
well as
it's
the other,
it helps that
yeah,
it's 1.5 hours,
it
literally a
is,
movie length.
yeah, yeah, right. And then the other episodes you get are like 45 minutes, like 44 minutes, I think,
Yes.
which all could be short films, and it's also shot and directed like that as well. Um, there isn't, yeah, basically it's treated as one long film. Um, that's what Lynch and Frost wanted to do, and that's what they did. Another big thing about the legacy of the series is that it spawned the sort of genre of the puzzle box series, right?
The what box?
The puzzle box.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it's called. So you
Oh,
sort of
yes. Yeah, what's J.J. Abrams has talked about this before.
Abrams is is
Hack.
is the mystery box guy. But
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, puzzle box is a bit different. It's where you have this grand plan for your series, and you sort of purposely make it quite complicated, so the audience spends some time sort of figuring out what's going on. And that's basically the idea of it. Though Twin Peaks isn't like that. It's not quite a mystery box, and but that's something we find out later, much later, in fact. Um,
Well, it
yeah,
feels to me
I
like
think I yeah. Sorry, you can go on.
just from a person that's only seen season one, it does feel like that's the case. I mean, we've been
Hmm,
revealed mostly in terms of like who's behind Laura's death at this point, but there's still like, what's up with all this surveillance system? Uh,
yeah,
who built it? Who is this person that Laura's mother saw? And there's also some stuff on some supernatural stuff that they might explain more, like why does Agent Cooper's dreams seem to always reflect reality?
Yeah, right. What I do want to sort of say, right, sort of at, at the start, is which episodes we're covering, because the transition between episode 1 and 2, I didn't actually notice this when I was first watching this show, and the episodes we're covering um, is between the pilots up to episode 7, well, up to 8. So we've watched
The
7
last
episodes so far,
evening.
including the pilots. Yes. So and series 1 ends just where Agent Cooper has been shot by a mysterious figure who you don't really see properly. You just sort of see their gloves.
I mean,
Um,
he's a professional. He's like all black.
yeah.
Every
Yeah, exactly. Also, there's right at the end there is this. It's sort of a one cliffhanger after another. Yeah, it's really a great ending to the first series.
oh yeah,
Anyway, um,
this is
yeah,
a cliffhanger that all cliffhangers should aspire to. It doesn't feel cheap, but every character is put in this peril, and it makes you want to jump into the next season and see what happens next. And from the perspective of like waiting a couple years, it's great in terms of like keeping discussion alive. Who's gonna live? Who's gonna die?
yeah, exactly. About the prescience in this series and the supernatural element. Um, these elements to me are are like the most interesting parts, and
Mhm.
it will it remains this big mystery throughout the whole show. It's quite difficult to obviously talk about the supernatural elements um, without spoiling anything, so I'm going to be very careful.
Yeah,
Um, but
there isn't a huge emphasis on them. I found in season
no,
one.
yeah,
The most I got out of it, like the only examples I remember, are obviously Cooper's very strange dreams. Like, well, one of which
mm,
was an extended sequence where he's just sitting in the chair and people with reverse speech are talking to him, and
yeah,
he's been done up like a mannequin and he looks super old.
yeah, he does,
And then there's the other bit where, as I mentioned, Laura's mother seems to see this stranger in her house, but I'm not even sure if that's supernatural. That could be just the guy was there, like
mm,
that he snuck in somehow, because there are all these surveillance systems in all these houses, like in a lot of them, like these back doors and little uh eye doors into people's houses, or at least some of them.
yeah, especially in the Great Northern, and we even see Audrey use use these things. I think that's series 1, or maybe
Yes.
yeah, okay,
No, no,
okay,
no,
that's
no.
good.
She uses it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
one.
So yeah, in this show, there's always this lingering idea that there's something always going on under the surface, and
Yes.
that's yeah, that's a very interesting. About the dream scene. How that was shot is they made the characters, the dwarf
Hmm.
and Laura Palmer. They made them talk backwards as they were
Hmm.
filming it, and then they reversed that film so it sounded like they were talking the right way around. If if you get what I mean, which is how they created those, which is how those voices were created.
That must have been incredibly strenuous on the actors to speak backwards and actually do it intelligibly.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. And this whole scene is just shot so wonderfully. The choice of music is just makes it so surreal and eerie as well. Like you have as much idea of what's going on as as a Cooper does.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that now my little video has like little indentations where there'd be commercial breaks, and there's like a commercial break, and then all of a sudden you're in Cooper's. You have Cooper go to bed, and then you have his dream sequence, and it's 5 long minutes of him sitting in that chair, and then there's this other monologue of the guy missing an arm talking to him, and also that same guy with the long hair that seems to be the same one that Laura's mother saw. It's all very. It's very out of the blue, and it's sort of freaky.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point, right?
Point. I know that's the point, but
yeah.
But there's nothing in the show that quite prepares you for the sheer level of huh.
Yeah. I know, right? It gets even weirder later on as well. Like this is just the tip of the iceberg in a lot of ways. Students, is there anything you wanted to say?
I mean,
we've sort of been dominating the conversation so far.
I mean, there was a lot of making out, I guess. Yeah. I wouldn't watch this. I wouldn't have watched this with my family, at least when I was a kid. Unlike yeah.
Well, this is something that's definitely designed for like teenagers or up. This isn't a story that would interest kids, nor do I think you'd necessarily want to let kids know about it. But anyone teenagers and up, like, is totally family friendly. Like even like my mother is, for example, is like very, very shy towards blood and violence, and I don't think she'd have a particular problem with this show. She might, but that it's even an edge case says that this isn't a particularly family unfriendly show. And in fact, that's one of the things that I noted from the start, and it sort of reflects Twin Peaks itself, is when Laura dies, there's this great opening where it shows the reaction of the whole town to Laura's death, and everyone is so shocked and horrified, they're whimpering. There are some tremendous performances there. There's like the principal blubbering on the radio to the whole school, and you really get this sense that Laura was sort of like the star of the school, and everyone's mourning her a little. And also that it was a tight-knit community, that everyone knew each other.
I mean, it does get a bit comedic, though, at the funeral, when her father...
yes, it does. Yeah,
her
was
father is...
deliberate, wasn't it?
Yes. Her father is a basket case. He doesn't know how to respond to all this. And I sort of wonder... This is just speculation on my part, but he had dealings with this Robert Horn, or Mr. Horn of the hotel companies, trying to buy out the sawmill, and obviously he was very involved in Mr. Horn in Laura's death. I can't help but wonder if Laura's father sort of has this inkling suspicion there as well, and also has this inkling suspicion that by association, he was also involved.
Another interesting fact about Leland is that he's actually willing to murder someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
he didn't actually know if this guy, the overweight man, who they capture, and it gets put into a hospital. At that point, he doesn't actually know if he killed his daughter or not, and he decides to murder him.
Yeah, because he's insane with grief. I sort of view that as almost this is the result of everyone just not talking to Leland and talking around him and just saying, "That's all right, Leland. Please, just go back to your wife. Go back to your wife." And this has happened over and over and over again throughout season 1.
Yeah.
And they don't tell him anything. Like, no one wants to actually converse with him. They just treat him like a hysterical man that should go back to his house. And to a certain degree, that's true. But at the same time, you also have to, like, be a little honest with the guy and still treat him like a human being and not just a child.
Right.
And in this case, he's like been doing nothing this whole season, and he's finally given the opportunity to do something, and he takes it. And of course, now he screws up the whole investigation because the guy they have was going to testify is now dead.
Yeah.
And the other guy they knew about, Leo, just got shot, so now they really have no leads.
Yes, and Leo also got shot.
Yeah, good riddance. Good fucking riddance.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. So, yeah, Leland. Yeah, what is it?
Thought Agent. Is there any special significance to the soap opera that they keep showing on TV?
Invitation to Love or something.
Invitation to Love.
I don't know. Nothing explicit is ever really sort of talked about that show. There might be, but I just don't know. Obviously there are a lot of points where what's going on television is sort of mirroring what's going on in real life.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about.
When a Leo gets shot, there's also someone getting shot on television, right? For example.
Yeah, it's like
I think
villain looking guy.
Again, obviously it's ironic, but also this ties in with the idea of precedence and these strange coincidences that sort of happen all the time. It's very once it's this show is really worth watching it twice, because there's so many small clues and hints at things that you missed the first time around. Which is just another thing that's so great about this show. Is that there's this sort of level of thought put into it, and there's obviously a degree of planning, but there's also just a degree of Lynch madness as well.
Yeah, the directing. It wasn't. The directing itself was like very solid throughout. I think my favorite part of it was like, I think it was like episode 8, where they have it zooming in on like Jack's or someone's eye, and then all of a sudden it cut. No, I think it was Leo's eye. Yeah, it was Leo's eye as he's dying, and then it cuts to the roulette wheel, and like the roulette wheel is like inside his eye, and then it comes out. Well done. In general, like I'm not the best guy at judging direction and that type of stuff, but I was impressed by everything that was shown, and I mean especially at the time.
What impressed me the most is how sort of quite neutral actions can be presented as something horrific, right? So at the end of the pilot, you see Laura's mother, who is called what's her name again? Bloody Laura's mother, who is called
Whose mother? Laura's. Oh.
yeah. Something Palmer.
Sarah Palmer.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So you
Sarah
have Sarah
Connor.
Palmer. She just sits up and she starts screaming, right?
Yes.
While at the same time, somebody, presumably Dr. Jacobi, is unearthing the other heart, the other half of the heart necklace, right? And this is and it's like it's very eerie. It's very sort of intense. But what's actually happening is Jacobi is just sort of finding this necklace because he was following those two anyway. And I think this is just a testament to how good the directing is in places. Obviously, it's a lot to ask. How much footage is here? There's like 8 hours. Well, I don't think it's 8 hours. I don't think it's that much in the first series, but there's quite a lot of footage. Yeah. I guess it would be like 8 hours of footage. It's obviously a lot to ask because that all that footage is amazingly directed, but a lot of it really is. There's a great use of lighting. There's a great use of sort of perspective camera work. It's just it's just really well done.
Yeah, there's a lot of dark evening settings, and they shoot in actual evening, and there's never an issue I found in terms of not being able to see things or anything like that. It's very well done in that regard.
Yeah. Well, Lynch is very good at using spotlights. That's all I'm going to say. He's sort of a lighting master. I'd say that there were maybe I'm wrong about that, but being able to shoot so clearly in like pitch darkness is definitely a talent.
Was the internet around when the first series came out?
I mean, it wouldn't have been relevant, but yes.
Yeah, it was around.
This was like 91. So we're 91. So we're talking full Usenet era.
Yes, the reason that I asked is because I watched a video which said somewhere that people were speculating on the internet about like what would happen next, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this probably would have been one of the first shows that really you did see that. I very much would have appealed again to that Usenet era. It's before my time.
Right. So, Doragent, did you feel like the high schoolers passed as high schoolers, or could you just say that?
Yeah. It's always it's always funny when you get like a bunch of sort of early 20-somethings to play high schoolers, but I didn't really mind,
they passed well enough. Like some of the women, I think, pass better. Like Audrey in particular looks the part.
Yes.
Bobby, not quite. Leo, no. James, sorta. I really like James as a character. He plays well this sort of like this very troubled, not necessarily sort of aloof but sensitive teen that really did care about Laura, and has all this guilt, both for he wants to figure out what happened to Laura, but also weighs on him a little that he technically did come into the relationship with Laura, and basically his mother and father were both cheats in relationships and absolutely horrible people. There is a lot of cheating going on throughout this show.
Yes, yes.
Yes, definitely. I think like 70% of the characters are like cheat on each other. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, I think the first comedic. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I kind of found it a bit funny when Bobby and I think the other one was called Gary just started barking.
Yeah, yeah. It was really yes. Gary, sort of the high school bully character. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it is. It is pretty entertaining, and I think it must have been a lot of fun. Just to act like absolute twats, basically, for a good portion of the show. Gary sort of thinks he sort of has this ownership over over is it Deborah? Anyway,
Ownership. Yeah. I did. I did. I kind of didn't buy Doctor Jacobi's a revelation that well, he basically took it out. Well, basically, when Bobby confessed that he was manipulated by Laura and all that, it just seemed a bit much. But I don't know. I mean,
I didn't mind that. It kind of works. Sort of
It
back
works.
back to the sort of back
Ye-
back to this, back to how sort of silly those two are acting. Like Bobby is always playing this tough guy. He says things like, "Oh, next time I meet Leo, I'm gonna like shoot him or something," and then when he actually comes into confrontation with Leo, he just sort of turns into this um sort of
simpering.
scared, like
Yeah,
scared,
scared.
scared deer in headlights sort of thing. He's
Which I
just
mean,
like
yeah,
yeah,
there's all these things. Both him and Shelley, like they could have like immediately gone to the police with his bloodstained pants and this or that
yeah,
and the other
exactly.
things,
Yeah, the
and they don't. I guess partially because they're young and they're just going with the flow, which is, yeah, I guess you could say an indictment on Bobby and her, but
yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
it
it's
just wasn't a smart call on their. I guess they also just trust the police themselves because they're involved in some of their own shenanigans. But
Yeah, I think that's the most
really,
of the
man,
thing.
when your life is on the line, and it is, what do you got to lose?
yeah these
But
yeah these characters aren't particularly good people either. Particularly, obviously, Shelley and Bobby, they're not bad people, but they're not great. And and just like the
yeah,
shit they pull in the second series really sort of highlights this. But
yeah,
so I'm not going to spoil anything.
Bobby is basically like the almost the school bully, uh, jock on the football team who also doesn't really take anything seriously, and you sort of see that part of the reason behind that is that he got caught up in some of this drug running. We haven't even talked yet about the reason Laura dies is she
Oh
is
yeah, the
involved.
actual plot.
Yeah, the actual plot.
Ah,
The reason Laura died is because she's involved in this complicated scheme of drug running across the border, and across the Canadian border. I guess it would have been too topical to set it where the actual drug running goes on.
Well. I mean, that wouldn't really wouldn't really make much sense in the setting though.
Oh, of course not. They'd have to
Yeah.
control the ways to set it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a possibility, and Laura was definitely involved in this drug running. She was this sort of prostitute as well for a time. But how she actually dies is never actually revealed, and it's still a mystery.
Mhm.
By the time the series ends,
Oh,
I'm not.
Fuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the businessman Benjamin Horn, he is also involved in funding the guys that are peddling the drugs. And he's also involved in this scheme where he's been trying to buy up this steel mill for some time from Jocelyn Packard. And he eventually arranges to have an arson attack against it and make it look like an accident.
Yeah. I think we should sort of talk about some criticisms. That might be like sort of an interesting thing to talk about. Were there any sort of problems you guys had with this first series? These episodes.
Problems.
I mean-
okay, go on.
I mean, some of the characters are kind of dumb, but it's in character for them to be dumb. Like Bobby, I was already talking about.
Yeah. That's true.
The one thing that sort of had me scratching my head a little on the last episode is James just sort of pulls up and Bobby's planted this bag of like meth or something like that in the gas cap of his motorcycle.
Yeah.
And then James shows up at the police station, and he starts giving all this evidence. And meanwhile, they say, "Hey, James, what's this we found on your motorcycle?" And it's like, well, what even possessed you to look through his gas cap? Just like, just the fact that he was getting too involved in all this, and you didn't like that?
Yeah, it's interesting though. I think Bobby did make a call to the police station. I can't remember what he said though. Unfortunately,
but
and
he
that
was
might clear this up a bit.
he was pretending to be
Yeah. I've forgotten to. Don't worry.
He was the guy who's Shelley's husband and the main guy peddling the drugs, Leo.
Oh, Leo. Yeah.
Yeah, he might have implicated James in that call, in that
weird.
fake call.
Yeah. I would sort of call that a mistake, though. At this point, Cooper has sort of sussed out that he hasn't really told him all the information, so Cooper may just be quite distrustful of him at this point, even though he does think he's innocent, basically. And so it is possible, but it's quite convenient for the plot. For plot purposes.
One thing I enjoyed about it was I've gone before how much the show goes out of its way to create this sort of feel of the Pacific Northwest and this very homely feel towards the whole area. And what's great is you've got this outsider that comes in, Agent Cooper, and he's very eccentric in his own way, but he immediately takes to the place. Like, he comments
he does.
how much he enjoys the general human decency that he sees here. How much
I
that,
mean,
like, the death of one individual affects everyone. And when the other FBI agents come in and basically just want to start hacksawing at Laura's corpse in order to get more info, he steps in and he basically tells them off. Says, I've seen more human decency here than I've seen in like most places, and the way you people have been like treating them and talking down to them, utterly irresponsible. And I'm not, and you're lucky I'm not going to write you guys up
I mean,
to Washington.
that whole thing felt a bit comedic, though, Albert. I kind of felt like he was kind of a comic relief character a bit. As for
he's a bit.
It's semi-comedic, but the thing is,
yes. Okay, go.
Go ahead. It's not like it's not like a slapstick or anything. It's just that this guy is a prick, and you're supposed to be rooting against him.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's funny when he gets punched and all that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, just it's not very realistic. I mean, I guess you could get someone like that, but still. As for all the other, I mean, it is. Agent Cooper does say that it's a homely, tight-knit community, but I don't know. Like everybody turns out to have dark secrets. So
yes.
So I don't know how homely and tight-knit it actually is when everybody's kind of lying to each other.
Well, yeah, that is part of it. Like, on the one hand, everyone does get along, but there's also these secrets that everyone just sort of tacitly accepts.
And
lets everything run smoothly.
Even on the surface, though, I mean, they don't all get, especially the teenagers, I would say. But maybe the adults probably do get along better on the surface. Well, not Catherine and the Asian woman, whatever her name was.
Yes, Jocelyn.
Yeah. Another thing which I kind of did not buy was that the one-eyed Jack, like it was a secret, like a secret place, because I don't know, like how I just don't get how they were running it without getting caught. Like how long have they been doing this? Because they seem to kind of imply when Horn's brother, the other Horn, comes that this has been going on for like a long time.
Yeah, at least a few years. Yes.
So yeah, it's a bit odd that because they're basically having sex with the daughters of their acquaintances there. I don't know. It kind of seemed a bit odd that nobody would know of this place. Another thing, I don't know. The music sometimes got a bit repetitive. I don't know. It wasn't bad or anything, but I did kind of realize that it was the same music being used. Other than that, yeah. I guess I can't. At first, I and Sieg talked a bit about this before starting recording this, and that it's not a detective story like, say, the Sherlock Holmes stories where like everything makes sense. It's more like a thriller, but it doesn't have any. It does have some horror elements, but it's not really trying to scare you most of the time.
No.
No, no,
It's
it's not.
supposed to create that. It's trying to create that feeling of creeping unease.
Yes, and to be honest, personally, I prefer the kind of detective stories where like everything makes sense, everything is explained at the end. But
Oh.
yeah, I mean, this is not bad, and one thing which I did like was that it's basically just one murder. All the episodes are about one case. It's not like those detective stories, TV series where like every episode is it's a new case, and then
Yeah,
nothing changes because of it's like a time reset almost. So I like the
yeah,
continuity, even though I kind of I didn't always follow like how Agent Cooper, for instance, was able to suss out who was sleeping with whom. He says it's body language, but he doesn't actually explain what about the body, what particularly. So I guess we can guess.
I don't.
We can
I
guess,
don't.
but we don't really
now
know.
let me tell you about Tibet.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I mean, I guess it's funny. Yeah, that was kind of
Yeah,
funny
yeah,
here. Yes, but
yeah, and it did also make its own sort of bizarre sort of internal, like, sense, right?
yeah,
It did have its sort of own internal logic, like, in the show, and
yeah. I mean, I do
you
hope.
actually believe it.
Yes, yes. I mean, I do hope that. I well, from the sounds of it, it will go much more into the bizarre, and I'm looking forward to that, because if you're not trying to make like sense, you might as well just just try to make a big mind fuck, uh, yeah, rather than trying to make everything fit together. Either way is fine, I guess. Where do we go from
Yeah.
here?
I've seen. Now this is just me. I remember when I first started watching Evangelion way back when. On the TV Tropes website, it said Evangelion is like the Twin Peaks of anime.
Come on.
Would you even make
For
that
fuck's sake.
comparison, Thought Agent?
I would kind of, in that both these shows make you ask a lot of questions and don't answer them. But,
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, I think in this case, with the comparison with Eva, is that it lacks it doesn't have like a psychological analysis or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
it doesn't have the sheer neuroticism and the honed-in focus on the neuroticism of the characters that Ava does.
It's more like a bunch of weird events, and
Yes.
with homely scenes in between as well.
Yeah, it's not trying to say anything about, let's say, how difficult it is to reach out and form connections with people or anything like that.
Did you guys try? I mean, because with Eva, like, it doesn't really matter. It's more about the message. Like, it doesn't really. It's a mind fuck, but the ending. But you don't really need to know exactly what happened, even though you can piece it
No,
out.
you don't.
Whereas here, I feel like it's more like guess who the murderer is, if you can, or what the next thing will happen, or just be surprised. I personally just did not even try to guess who it was.
Yeah, it's
No?
very plot oriented. I haven't felt any super push through message thus far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I know you haven't tried to figure it out, but who do you think killed Laura?
I don't know. I mean, It could be anyone. It could be anyone. I mean, at this point,
Yeah.
it could be Leo. At the previous point, it could have been James
Yeah.
or Bobby.
No, it was never James. That's one of the things I like. Is like the first people they bring in. It's like you immediately think in your head, yeah, the way these guys are
Yeah,
reacting,
but-
there's no way in hell
Right.
that they're guilty, and you wonder, oh geez, are we going to have this whole thing where the police go, oh, they could be guilty because they're acting angrily or whatever. But thankfully, no. The police and Agent Cooper go,
I
no,
guess-
these guys aren't guilty.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, I mean that's well, I mean he just says that, but I mean, okay, he doesn't really. He just knows somehow. Maybe.
Yeah, he can tell based off of their testimony. Like in James's case, he's very forthright. He's very contrite. There's a lot of things
I
pointing
mean,
against him. Bobby, because of like how personally offended he is and how angry he gets, that's a real tell. Generally speaking, when you're interrogating a guy, if it's not too rehearsed or anything like that, real genuine anger
I
like
mean-
that tends to be a sign of guilt.
Yeah.
Of innocence, excuse me.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen like I don't know if they show it on TV there, but here in the UK, there's always some. They basically show like suspects, the police are just arresting people for drinking or something, and and they will lie. And they will lie and pretend to be angry that like they have been suspected till the end. So I don't know. It just feels like it just felt to me like more like okay, it's just to get the plot going along.
I thought it was appropriate. I actually, if I were in Sheriff Truman and Agent Cooper's shoes, I would have done the exact same thing and done those
All right.
interrogations and dismissed those.
Yeah, all right. As for James, I guess the reason that I thought it might be him
Carry on.
is because you know, like in a lot of fiction, even in Twin Peaks here, like you get people who pretend to be innocent, who are shown to be innocent, but they but really they're just pretending. I guess in Twin Peaks it would be Hank, maybe, or not Shelley's. Fuck, I can't remember. The man who came from who is on parole, I guess.
Oh yes.
So yeah, but it turned out that James was not pretending to be a good guy, but really a psychopath. He was just a nice guy. Also, we think
James has this. He does have this real intensity behind him, and that's sort of, I think, where you were getting that impression. Is you can tell if pushed too far, this is a person that could be capable of a whole lot, but man, he doesn't want to go there.
yes,
And he has all this guilt because of his family background, and he has this fear that he's going to follow the steps of his parents. His parents were just so terrible that he's living with, I believe it's his uncle.
yes, but the thing is that's for instance, we don't really know whether he lied about his background. And what I'm trying to say is that it could be anyone really. So there's no point in really guessing, because you're just. I mean, if you guess and at the end it turns out that you were right, you will think, "Oh look, I guessed it right." But you're not really. It's just you're just aiming in the dark.
Well, right now I think.
Yes, but who do you think killed her?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
But
I
even
don't know. It could be
so-
anyone. Yes.
I couldn't say definitively who killed her, but I can say
To be honest,
Liam
I
was
don't care who killed her.
all.
To be honest, I just want to see the weird shit happening. That's all.
Jeez.
I see. Well, there's plenty of that coming up. Don't worry. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Sort of asking you guys who've only seen part of the show what you think is going to happen. You know, and things. And it's just it's very interesting in that way. I'm sort of having sort of like a private chuckle to myself
It
at
feels
some of the things you guys are saying.
Yeah, yeah.
it feels to
Probably
me
that
like
was David Lynch too. Before he finished making the whole thing.
it feels to me like the smart play would be to kill off Agent Cooper. But then I accidentally, while looking things, I saw that in IMDb he's credited for 30 episodes. So I'm like,
Why did you tell
it'd
me
be
that?
kind of hard. It would be kind of hard to kill him off then. But
Yeah, you see.
I mean, I usually don't
Oh
care.
well.
I usually don't care about spoilers, but there's nothing else other than the spoilers here. I mean, there's nothing else other than. I mean, in terms of themes, there's not much. So there's only like making you think about what will happen next. So
yes,
that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, my attitude towards this show and why I like it is quite similar to Eva. Wherein I don't really place that much emphasis on what's actually going on, really. More so the experience of the show, which and that's the reason why I wanted to revisit this show again. Just because it's a very pleasant experience. Even though
It is.
horrible things are happening, there's potential incest, but we'll find out what happens after that. Well,
Yeah, there's no
you know,
way her father's not going to notice, right? Right? Right?
you'll see, and there's murder and unhappy marriage, but even still, this setting and how these characters are, just creates this quite pleasant atmosphere, um, which
Yeah.
might be a bit weird, but I'm sure you sort of get what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's also something of an emphasis on food throughout. Like
Yeah.
everyone talks about the cherry pie, and there's this homely diner,
Yeah, and
and
the
then the
donuts, fucking donuts. Come on.
yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
I think my favorite character is probably Cooper. I think Cooper is most people's favorite character, just because
yeah.
of how positive and
He's
assuring he is. And eh, he has all these sort of quirks and things, and he's constantly um, reporting back to Judy, in sort of this quite excited, almost childlike way, and
yes.
he really sort of uplifts everyone around him.
Very much. Yeah, and he's very much is the one guiding the whole sheriff team around, because this is a small time sheriff area. They are not equipped to deal with this, and that's why I actually disagree with Good Student very heavily. The idea that it's unbelievable or anything that this drug running's been going on. Like these Sheriff Truman seemed like the only guy who somewhat had his head screwed on straight in terms of like being a good sheriff, and even then, it's not like he's this tremendous detective or anything. He just upholds the law around where he is. I have no doubt they could be doing all kinds of things under these guys' noses.
I mean,
Like, there's only like
I guess that they're not so tight knit after all. A community, I guess, if that could go unnoticed. Yeah.
Well, another interesting thing to point out is that nobody even suspects that something dark is going on, right? So, um,
Yes.
Laura's friend, oh God, I always forget her name. The dark haired teen.
Uh,
Even
Dark-haired what?
she,
Audrey? Oh,
no, not of Audrey, the other one.
fuck, there's
She,
another one.
y-
Donna?
yeah, I think so.
Donna? The
The
one, yeah, Laura's best friend, the
Donna.
one going out with James.
Yeah. Even though she says things like, "I knew Laura better than she thought," um,
Hmm.
the fact that she was involved in what she was involved in, um, she never even notices this
Yeah,
at any point throughout their friendship.
in some ways it feels like Audrey, the person that keeps saying, I didn't really know Laura. It feels like she knew her better.
Yeah. Well, also Audrey's she's sort of living in the middle of all this, right? She's sort of constantly spying on like her father,
Yeah, she's
who's
really bored.
responsible for a lot of this.
Yeah, I found
Yeah,
her
she's also incredibly bored all the time as well. Wherein like
incredibly
she would,
bored. She
wherein she,
her father is like this complete ass who very much would have wanted her to be involved in the terribly immoral family business, and she's pretty much snuffed that out already. Didn't want to get involved. Uh, she spends all this time basically just almost like flirting at older men. I think because she is looking for a way out of her family.
I think she's just
yeah,
bored. Yeah. Um,
yeah,
If we're going to make all the Ava comparisons, she does remind me a bit of Asuka.
yeah.
I don't know.
Why is that? Why is that then?
Sort of that same, like, very playful thing where she's looking towards older men, I guess, and also, I
Okay,
guess,
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
I see that. Well, she she also just sort of wants to create this sort of chaos around her. She's quite a cynical person. She'll just sort of torment the staff. In the pilot, right? She's sort of messing around with this paper cup, and and she asks
yes.
the receptionist, "Oh, hey, what do you think will happen if I pull out this pencil?" And then she
Yeah,
does, and she just sort of
like,
ruins the paperwork.
yeah, it's like a cat, like knocking over things from the desk.
Yeah, I would say that Audrey is a
She
yeah, go on.
She also develops this relationship with Agent Cooper, which is, speaking of the Oscar parallels, just like literally the same thing in terms of like the show up in bed and making
Yeah,
sex.
I guess
Which,
it's something similar with the she wants to be an adult or something. I mean,
yes.
yeah, that sort of thing. Um,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, and there's also that connection with Agent Cooper, and like Agent Cooper, I think this whole time sort of can tell that's the direction Audrey is angling, but he just sort of accepts her and does get along with her, so he sort of accepts it up
I mean,
until that point.
yeah, I mean,
One of the interesting things I also found is after that scene where she shows up in his room and he tells her like, I'm going to get and he basically tells her off for doing this. He says, I'm going to tell you now I'm going to go down and you're going to get changed and we're going to just talk as friends. And you're going to
friend zone.
explain to me all the issues you're having.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they specifically don't show any of the scene after that, and they don't ever talk about the scene after that. So you have no idea what happened there, and it's very much left up to, like, did it leave them on better terms, less terms, or did they actually go through with having sex after all? Who
Nah,
knows?
I doubt it. I mean, it's kind of funny because Agent Cooper is also kind of playful and kind of an overgrown child a bit. So
Yes, he is. Yeah.
He has this childish nature to him, but I wouldn't call him an overgrown child or anything like that.
yeah.
He's still quite a professional.
Yeah, I mean, like, poor Andy, he got a fucking rock on his head. That was pretty childish, I think. I mean, I guess it was all for the investigation, so can't blame him. Yeah. I mean, I guess he's more. So Audrey is more chaotic, neutral, maybe. Or
yeah. Chaotic neutral.
He'd be chaotic good.
and Cooper. I mean, is he chaotic? Yeah, I guess he's a bit chaotic. So
Yeah, Cooper would be chaotic good. Yes.
Well, like lawful. I get. Well,
Is
yeah.
it? No.
I guess.
I mean, he is literally working to uphold the law.
yeah, but I mean, but he's okay when they what are they called? The Bookhouse Boys or something. They literally just tie up this guy somewhere, and he doesn't have a problem with that. So I don't know. I mean, I guess yeah. I guess it's generally lawful, but more lawful good. But yeah, I mean, it's not like you can't be chaotic lawful.
Whatever. We don't have to abide by those
fuck that.
hijacks conventions.
Right, let's just give up. Who else is there left? Harry. I mean, Harry. I mean, he literally says at one point that he thinks he's becoming Dr. Watson. So, because I did kind of feel that even though both Agent Cooper and Sheriff Harry Truman.
Do you mean Deputy Sheriff Andy? Harry's the name of the actor.
Oh, no. I mean the sheriff.
Truman.
Truman, yeah.
Sheriff Truman.
Yeah, he does say at one point.
Sheriff Harry Truman. Oh yeah, Sheriff Truman. Excuse me.
Yes, he does say at one point that he thinks he's becoming Watson, and I mean, I wouldn't exactly say that, and I think he says that maybe he needs to start learning medicine or something to be like to be a doctor like Dr. Watson.
Yeah, he feels like he's he sort of recedes in importance as this season goes along. I imagine he's going to have more importance in later seasons, but thus far he's basically just been loyally following Cooper's lead.
Yes, but yeah. So I will say, he still keeps this authority over his own men, right?
Yeah.
He's still directing them. It's not really Cooper giving like the actual signals.
No, it's not.
It's Truman sort of saying, I'll cast a line. You hook him.
Is Truman shorter than Cooper? Because I don't think that he is. But yes, he's taller. But sometimes it kind of felt to me like Cooper was a bit taller just because of the Holmes and Watson comparison. Yeah. What else is there? Sig, what did you think of Cooper, like in the scene when he was introduced, basically when he was driving to Twin Peaks? Did you like him initially? Because I didn't like him initially when I at that point. I only started to like Cooper later. I mean, at the point where he was introduced when he was driving to Twin Peaks, and recording himself for Diane or whatever the fuck her name was. I don't,
Diane.
yeah.
Yeah, at first you don't know what to think of him because he's the one doing the interrogations, and he warms up to the other characters pretty fast.
Right, yeah.
I'd say I was maybe getting to start to like him in episode 1. By episode 2, you start to get a feel for him and liking him, especially because he
Yeah.
starts taking to the town itself.
Yeah, I just loved his character from like day one.
Yeah.
I just loved his style. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just you know, the whole what were they? Douglas Firs. Yeah, seriously. You know, he just has this sort of love and appreciation for like these sort of small details, and and he just he's always wanting to genuinely sort of speak with people on their level. He
Yes,
never
he's
never sort
very
of abrasive really when you're first meeting him.
yes, he's very virtuous, and he's very appreciative of small virtues here and there.
I don't think we saw him taking an L at any point, or did we?
We saw him get shot. That was an L.
Yeah, I guess that's that at the end. Yeah.
No, yeah, we don't. So series 1 goes quite well for him, really. I'm not gonna spoil later. That's what I'm gonna say.
When it comes,
So he did worse things than getting shot. Okay.
yeah.
No, well, yes, no, I'm not gonna say.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting shot is definitely a low note for him.
Yeah. Anything could happen, but I wonder whether I don't know. Did whether he just happened to be wearing a bulletproof vest or something. But I guess we'll find that out later on. We'll see. That's what I immediately chose because there's going to be 2 more seasons, and 2 more seasons without Agent Cooper. I don't know. Kind of sounds like shit.
Yeah.
And
it does.
when it comes to villainous characters, who do you think had the best presence? I guess.
Obviously, yes. Sorry.
Mr. Horn is great as this just devilish character that you really don't care. That's very charismatic, but I very much like this.
I mean, he does take quite a few bit some else here and there. I mean,
he's basically just a businessman involved in all these shenanigans, and I like how he deals with Leland sometimes, where you can tell he just can't stand what Leland's become, and basically just sees people's ends and whatnot. It's basically just him and Leo as the big villains. I think they're both well done. Leo Johnson is this very
he's a menacing, right? Yeah.
He's menacing. Like, his idea of a traditional marriage is that I expect my wife to get my ham sandwich now, and if she doesn't, I beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, it's basically the left wing meme of toxic masculinity. Anyway,
Pretty much.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's quite cartoonish. But then again, most of these characters are quite cartoonish as well.
Yeah.
And it does, it works in the context of the show. Another villain is the guy who got out of jail. I always forget his name. It's Shelley's
Hank.
husband. Yeah. Hank. Yeah. he shoots Leo at the end of this. So and he's sort of presented as a guy who even Leo is afraid of. So I'll
Yeah.
definitely say he's like another antagonist.
Yeah, basically, Leo was supposed to take over Hank's operations, but he wasn't supposed to, like, completely take over and start running them for himself, which he did, which is why Hank had to step in and reassert control.
Yeah. Another good villain I thought was Catherine. I thought, I don't know, I thought her character, she had some good lines, I guess. And
She did. Yeah. Also, right at the end, she's sort of considering, there's this chance that she could be redeemed if she decides to save Shelley. But obviously, that's yet to be seen, and I'm not going to spoil anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was kind of funny though. I mean, to me, it seemed like she did, or somebody cut the rope. I don't know if it was, but if it was I kind of liked how she looked annoyed most of the time at everything.
Yeah, and she was also like so manipulative as well. All right, right.
So what?
Manipulative of her husband. Yeah. And, also she's just like this massive bitch as well. When she when she feels like she's being sort of slighted by Packard, she just goes and just fires like the first guy she sees.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, like when she just goes and pours her drink on Horn's shoes and then slaps him multiple times. I thought that was a good scene for a villain.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess the twist, the biggest twist, I think, was the fact that Joanne Chen. That's the name of the actress. Josie Packard. Turned out to be kind of a villain, sort of.
Yeah. She plotted with Hank, so that she could sort of get rid of her husband in a boating accident.
Yeah, and now we don't know anything about the husband, so I don't know. I kind of have
the husband just seemed like a fisherman who
not Catherine's husband. I mean Josie's husband, Josie Packard's husband. Who's dead? Who's dead?
Yeah. I didn't pick up on that on the last episode. Yeah, I did obviously notice that they were involved in terms of like her getting the mail, which almost makes me question if she's involved in all this. What was the point of all this? Of all this subterfuge and all this stuff to burn down the mill, because they're trying to acquire the mill. Why couldn't they have just arranged the sale immediately? It does seem like she's very, very reluctantly involved with these people, and Agent Cooper was like sort of like suspicious a little of her from the start. Where it's like, how much do you really know about her?
Yeah, but again with Agent Cooper, I kind of felt like, okay, he has read the script. That's what it feels like.
Come on, he's a special FBI agent, he can sense these things. He's been trained, and he has like these strange dreams as well. He does. I
mean, you're also an agent, so I can see why you would defend him.
Of course. Well, I have to. I have to defend my people. Of course.
Of course. So I don't know. The reason why because it kind of felt like Josie was a bit she wasn't like fully evil, I guess. Or rather,
No.
kind of reluctant. So maybe who knows? Maybe it turns out that her husband used to be a piece of shit. So maybe that's why she had to murder him or something. I wouldn't be surprised.
More is revealed later about her, and also about the finances surrounding the sawmill as well. So these things do get cleaned up later.
Yes.
And the thing is, I kind of care more about those things than about the murder, really, at this point.
Yeah, it is interesting. Although I was reading on Wikipedia that apparently one of the issues the show faced in terms of ratings
In season 2, I
is
think.
is that they resolve who killed Laura halfway through the second season, and then after that viewership dropped off.
Yeah, I think you kind of need to have Laura's murder as an excuse to continue the story, so that because I guess the reason that it's fun is because like you get to see more and more of this like a huge web of relationships and secrets and little mysteries which all might not always it's like the roots of a tree. So
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
they might not all basically be directly connected with Laura's murder, but you know what I mean. It
Yeah. We do. That was some very lovely imagery.
right. So what else is there to say? Oh, the log lady. I mean, I'm just looking at that.
Oh yes. The log lady. Did you watch the show with the log lady intros?
What? No.
Okay, no, you didn't.
What the fuck is this on about?
In the gold box set I have, there's an option to watch the show with the log lady intros, where she just sort of speaks these sort of parables or like
Yeah, I didn't have that as an option.
That's really unfortunate because I thought her character was kind of fun. Yeah.
She's like this iconic character. It's definitely it's well worth finding and watching all these intros. They don't really add too much. Well, I don't think they really add anything to the story, but
it's more about that atmosphere.
They're just sort of these curiosities.
Yeah.
They add to the atmosphere. And she sort of talked a bit about herself as well and her husband. It's interesting. But yeah, that it's not really something that was sort of aired originally. I don't think that there's sort of these bonus extras that are kind of interesting.
Yeah. Because it's more about this thing is all about the atmosphere, the extra stuff. It's not like one of those one episode murder mysteries where like okay, we found out how Laura was murdered. Here we will explain everything, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Case closed. Let's see. About her. I mean, we didn't see much, but I don't know. I guess what did her log see? I mean, what did her log see?
If I did have one overall criticism, it would be that James and Donna, sort of their stuff sort of gets pushed a little bit towards the background towards the end, and only sort of comes up again at the very end. But I mean, there's a fair amount of characters in here, and I think they manage everything well.
Yeah, it is quite the ensemble of characters that sort of been juggled around.
Yeah. Let's see. I found this. Sheet, a character ranking sheet. I put it on the Discord thing.
Okay, let's see it.
I found it on Reddit. I didn't make it, of course, but
Ugh, Reddit. Ugh.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the Twin Peaks subreddit. I mean, of course, there would be one. Let's see.
So,
So obviously, you know who's
Oh,
on
I
top,
see.
of course.
oh yeah, Cooper. Of course.
And that's three of
And,
them. That's fucking.
No. There's actually 4 Coopers there if you look closely.
Oh
But
my
There
god.
are.
this is minor spoilers. I'm not gonna tell you anything about this.
Yeah.
Obviously, Laura, long-haired guy, and David Lynch himself is up there, which is
Yes.
pretty funny.
Who is David
okay,
Lynch?
yeah, okay,
Which?
He's the guy
he-
on the top right.
I see.
yeah, right on the top right.
I see.
Yeah, this is like combined of spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah, and James is at the bottom. Did you see that? James.
Yeah, I do see that. I would kind of agree with most of this tier list. To be honest, I thought James was kind of a more boring character. But he was all fine. I mean,
I don't know. Like I don't know the way that he was looking sometimes was a bit funny. Like I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He always has this intense look on his face in every scene.
he has this very guilty expression.
Yes. He feels like he's feeling in. This is overstating it, but it almost feels like he has this intense guilt for existing.
I mean, especially in that scene where Bobby starts barking, and then it cuts to James just I don't know, just doing his
Yeah. He looks like it looks a little bit like he sort of shat himself, but he just looks embarrassed for it. Anyway, oh god.
What, embarrassed for Johnny?
people.
Well, like just for himself, basically.
Yeah.
Oh man.
People in
Yeah,
the
it's
go on.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna waffle about something nonsensical. You can talk. Don't worry.
People in the subreddit were complaining that Peter is not on top. I don't know. I didn't dislike him or anything, but I mean,
Stop caring about what Redditors think.
yeah, whatever. I mean, but what did you guys? I mean, I didn't. Pete was just all right. I didn't think. I mean, I guess he was a solid guy or whatever, but
He's like, he's like a solid A tier character. I would agree. I think the character Lynch plays later on, I would call him an S tier character. I think this person just put him in S tier because he was just
I mean,
David Lynch.
I see.
Yeah.
So his interesting.
Yeah, I didn't.
There's Log Lady as well.
I didn't get the. Yeah, Lucy's too much on top. She's just boring. She just sounds like one of
She
those
has been
VTubers.
funny moment.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't. She's definitely not my favorite, but she does. She does have lots of these funny moments with Andy. I think Andy and Lucy sort of on their own are sort of not as good as if they're sort of interacting with each other. when they're sort of together, some really funny things happen. When Andy sort of goes to kiss Lucy, and then she just says, "I'm pregnant," and then Andy just sort of slowly backs away.
That was very funny. Yeah, the way that he backs away.
He just has no idea what to do in that situation. I
didn't follow the whole one-armed man thing investigation. Did he actually find? They found a one-handed man.
The one-armed man is explored more later. He's just sort of he sort of gets put on the back burner in this series. he's a very interesting character as well. Great actor who plays that guy.
Yeah.
I see. I mean, yeah. I mean, the dream, for instance, we just see it, but I guess did anything much come out of it in terms of the investigation? Because that's the whole thing with the weird stuff, right? That it somehow points Cooper to the next step.
Well, I can't remember how, because in preparation for this talk, I just watched the pilot and the last episode, just to sort of get myself acquainted. There are obviously some significant things that happened, like Laura whispers something into his ear, but he actually forgets what she whispers.
Yes.
Which is significant.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit like a bait and switch, because it ends in episode 3 where he goes, "I know the killer," and then episode 4 starts. "Do you? So who's the killer? Who's the killer?" I forgot what she whispered into my ear.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, thanks, Cooper.
I kind of expected like in Eva, like in the TV ending, like they show like all the all the recording equipment, like it's all a movie set at the apartment where they were at. What was the movie? I kind of almost expected like to be able to peek at the lights or something during the movie scene, but that didn't happen.
It's a very interesting you say that, but yeah, just sort of wait, and that sort of feeling might make a bit more sense. Yeah, and this sort of ties in with the precedents and the nature of this world. But anyway.
And another character which I kind of found a bit annoying was Bobby's father, who like can't fucking say anything straight. I mean, he's so wordy.
The sergeants.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I liked him just because of how he speaks. How he speaks reminds me of like Thomas Sowell books. So,
yeah, he does.
So I sort of just like warmed to him for that reason. He isn't really in it much though, is he? In the first series, again, he's sort of one of these characters who's a lot like the Log Lady, where like you sort of get a couple of scenes from him, and he says like a couple of lines. But,
I don't know why, but I kind of expect to see more from him for some reason.
Later on, you do see more from him.
Because it's just weird to have a military man, and that doesn't like come into the plot somehow.
It hasn't yet, other than the fact that he's actually pretty wise when it comes to Bobby. He's actually pretty wise as a character, and he understands what Bobby's going through, but he's just so stern and austere that he's not good at relating with his son at all.
Yeah, he can't. And this is one of the frustrations that Bobby so clearly has, is that he can't really connect with his father, and nor does he really want to, because he just thinks his father can never understand what he's feeling, and nor does he really want to.
It's one of those things where if Bobby made the effort, he could understand his father, but there's already a fair bit of bad blood there, and his father is a little too stern sometimes.
His father does definitely want to connect with him, and he does care about him, and he's constantly trying to console him.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
I think when it comes to that, it would be you can kind of contrast that to how the psychiatrist, what was his name? He knows
Dr. Jacobi.
Jacobi immediately knows like what's going on, and
Well, yeah, he's a Freudian. Just ask Freudian questions at the kid, and you get response.
yeah, I mean, to be honest, though, he's also like weird. I guess he's also part of the
He is quite weird.
he's also part of what's going on underneath. Unless, of course, maybe
Yeah.
Bobby's father is somehow also involved in some way that we don't know yet.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but yeah, he's sort of Anyway, Doctor Jacobi is quite an interesting character. He's I don't think I'll ever understand why he has like this beach scene set up, and why he sort of has like the other half of the necklace in like a coconut. Why on earth did he put like, the necklace in a coconut?
I think he's a nutty ex-hippie. I just think that's what he is.
Yeah. That's obviously it. Yeah, a big part of him too.
Yeah, I think it was with what he said and about Laura that like here maybe if I had any sympathy towards Laura, like it was kind of gone after yeah.
All the reveals.
Yes, especially the ones from Jacobi. Let's see.
Yeah, very interesting. Also, Jacobi is also there as a way to sort of misdirect. So you kind of think he may have killed her, and it's still possible, but he's not like he's like at the end of the day he's just sort of this like mad psychologist. He was like kind of good at his job though. He definitely does succeed in sort of making Bobby open up, and that's quite helpful.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think that Bobby changed at all. Though.
Well, no, it didn't. It didn't change Bobby, but it did help the investigation.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he just did. I mean, how did Jacobi helping Bobby open up? Helping with,
no, yeah. Sorry. I got mixed up with some of the stuff from season 2. Don't worry.
I see.
Yeah,
but at least he's not dead at it.
Don't worry. It's not really spoilers. Don't worry.
It does help us learn stuff about Bobby, but yeah, it hasn't necessarily helped the investigation yet.
No, oh my god. Sorry, I thought I was trying so hard, but I finally made like a minor mistake.
I see.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's see. What else is there to talk about? I thought that at first that the high school setting would play more of a part, but it really didn't in the end. The kids don't seem to go to high school anyway.
No, they don't. Yeah, I think the high school is just completely disposed of as well.
Yeah, by the end.
Yeah, I wonder if they will reveal how Big Ed got together with the woman, with the mad woman.
Norma. Nadine. Nadine's the wife. Norma's the one that runs the diner.
The woman with the eye patch. Yeah.
Yes, and it is actually explained how why she's wearing an eye patch as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Does Nadine invent the silent blinds in the first series, or is that sort of later? She sort of figures it out.
Yes. That is the thing that she's obsessed with. And,
yeah.
And she's this very nutty character that seems to only care about that has this odd attachment to her husband, but also realizes that her husband thinks that she's a nut and is very distant from her.
Does she realize? I don't know.
I think there's nothing definitive there, but I think she does, especially since at the end of this season she ends up taking some pills.
But wasn't that because she failed to, how do you say? Because her idea, she was not able to copyright it. Essentially,
Yeah, it's sort of it's quite I wouldn't say she sort of attempts suicide just because she couldn't get like a patent on like the Silent Drake Brothers. She's obviously sort of making up for something, and that thing is probably this sort of gap she has with Big Ed.
Yeah, which is why he seems to be cheating on her with Norma.
Yeah, they're not actually cheating. They did. It's interesting what happens. Big Ed is like never really cheats on her in this series.
Okay.
They're just sort of friends.
Gotcha.
But they both do quite like each other, and obviously, given a choice, Ed would definitely pick one over the other. Let's say, Norma.
There's even a scene where Nadine's going, I remember back in high school, you were like looking at Norma, and you never saw little old me, but I knew you'd end up with little old me. And Big Ed just sort of like stands there and looks away and awkwardly just pats at her.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Which is his whole coping strategy with dealing with Nadine.
Happy marriage.
They
just like say nothing, just let it happen, and just look away, and it'll all be over soon.
They found a character for Laura's character to play after all, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they have.
Her identical cousin. Yeah, which is
who's played surprisingly little lol so far.
Yeah. I also expected her to basically help get the story move along. That's why I thought that she was added, but apparently not.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I really do think that character was just invented so that the actor playing Laura Palmer could just have something to do. And she is. As I said, in series 2, all these characters do get more to do. Series 2 is like so much longer. I think it's like 20 plus episodes as well.
It's 22 episodes. Yes, it's
Yeah, I can't believe it can't do the last day. I guess this time.
We might have to spend like
2 weeks,
a bit longer, sort of getting caught up.
I think
not.
I think I can do it in 1 week. What about you, Zee?
Okay.
I'd prefer to.
So what do we talk about next week then?
How long is Code Geass?
25 episodes.
Oh, I see.
25 episodes per season if we wanted to do that. I guess we could technically break it up if we wanted to do that in terms of like 1 season of Geass, then 1 season of Peaks, then 1 season of Geass if you want to do that.
I guess it might be easier.
I don't know.
Or,
I think we will be disagreeing a lot on Geass. I don't know, but it could be fun. Yeah,
that might actually be a good thing to do because I do feel like that show, and everyone's pointed out there is something of a drop in quality to the second season, and it does feel like it's all the same people, and it still feels like it's being run by the same people. But it does feel like it's sort of like diverged a little once you get to the second season.
I mean, Code Geass. Code Geass, as some call it. It's a bit like Sword Art Online in that, or the Twilight Saga, in that it just became popular to hate it. So we could be contrarians and say that it's not that bad,
Yeah.
I guess. Not awful, outright
Okay.
awful. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
but you have to be willing to laugh
This
at
is-
it, I think.
I think it's
Yeah.
the type of show that encourages you to laugh with it, but that's neither here nor there. We're not talking
Yeah,
about that way.
yeah. We're talking about something you're not supposed to laugh at, or maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. Hope's character was kind of pointless. But I guess it's good because it might piss off some of the people who ought to be. Who else is there? Who else?
I feel like we've covered everyone in sufficient depth. I feel like we've covered the plot and everything in sufficient depth at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. There isn't really any more I would like to say.
So
Yeah, I'm looking forward
yeah.
to a revisiting series 2.
yeah.
It's a bit different. It's structured a bit differently. The writing is a bit different. The directing is a bit different.
Oh.
And it's its own curiosity in a lot of ways. It'll be good. It'll be good. You'll probably like series 2 more students as well.
Yeah.
By my estimates.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
And that's in 2 weeks from now, and next week then it's Code Geass, is it?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one season.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Good. Let's
Just
do it.
one season.
Yeah, just one season. Yeah.
Okay. From Twin Peaks to giant robots in Japan. Sounds like a step
Very
up.
good.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
What? What?
We- hey, you gotta bring the giant robots in somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the stakes are higher, But I don't know. It just becomes robots with superpowers at one point, though.
Oh yeah. I forgot about the whole stakes thing with you, which I kind of agree with your philosophy on that students, but at the same time, I can sort of bring myself to care deeply about
That's
lower stakes.
No, I'm
Anyway,
I mean, we didn't. I don't think. I don't. When it comes to the stakes, I don't think I was that attached to any of the characters. I mean, even if Agent Cooper, it turned out Agent Cooper died, I would be like, oh, it's okay. So that means it's boring. But
well, I do want to point out that you did care about the spoilers surrounding his
yeah, but that's
survival.
I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing more than the plot here. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Okay.
well, I found myself reasonably caring for and liking a number of characters. It wasn't like
Me too.
It wasn't like I was like, oh my god, I'm going to bawl my eyes out if one of them dies. But I was reasonably attached to a whole bunch of them and want to see them not die and want to hopefully see them reach resolution.
Right.
Yeah, or just generally succeed in their
I don't know.
in their lives. Basically.
I kind of would like to see everything go to shit as well, though. So, but
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Basically a bit like the village in Chiki, where it starts out all homely, but then they all end up murdering each other.
It's into this brutal sort of murder fest. Yeah. I like that series. I don't know. Anyway,
I think
you can. Yes, loyal viewers, thank you for listening to us.
Yeah.
I
Thank you,
think I was
Imaginary
watching
Creatures.
the
Yeah,
last
thank
time.
you. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So yeah.